Don't lose sight of your goal. Your countless hours of studying and sleepless nights will pay off in the end. With this motivational quote, a very good morning to all my dear students. I hope that you all are in good health. This is Shreya Jadhav and I welcome you all to my e-learning channel. Today we are going to learn English Grade 10 Supplementary Reading 3 The Midnight Visitor, written by Robert Arthur. So, before starting with the reading and explanation of the chapter, let us know something about the author. Robert J. Arthur Jr., born on November 10, 1909, died May 2, 1969. Arthur was a writer of speculative fiction known for his work, The Mysterious Traveler radio series, and for The Three Investigators, a series of young adult novels. Arthur was honored twice by the Mystery Writers of America with an Edgar Award for the Best Radio Drama. So now, let us move ahead. Setting of the chapter. Ausable, a secret agent, is expecting to get a very important report. Another secret agent called Max threatens him with a pistol, demanding the report. Introduction for answer. So dear students, whenever you are writing down your answer for examination purpose, always remember that you are supposed to start your answer with introduction. This makes your answer more presentable. Prose name, The Midnight Visitor. Author's name, Robert Arthur. Genre, short story. Summary. Ausable, a secret agent, is expecting to get a very important report. Another secret agent called Max threatens him with a pistol, demanding for the report. So this is the introduction for the answers. Now we shall start up with the reading and explanation of the chapter. But first we will go through the summary of the chapter. Supplementary 3, The Midnight Visitor. So the summary is, Ausable was a detective and Flower was a writer who wanted to write a book on detectives. He came to meet Ausable. What qualities a detective possessed, according to him, were not visible in Ausable, who was very fat and looked unlike a detective. He had a room on the 6th floor in a French hotel, and it was the top floor. Flower didn't know what to expect from him. Ausable could speak French and German, but his accent was American, which he had brought with him from Boston 20 years ago. Ausable could read Flower's mind and said that he would not find any beautiful girls around him. He looked at Flower and said that being a young and romantic writer, he must have thought that there would be mysterious people around the spy. Hear the crack of pistols or see drugs in the wine. However, in reality, he was spending a dull evening in a French music hall with a floppy fat man who was not getting messages slipped into his hand by dark-eyed beauties. They were talking to each other and they reached the detective's room. Oswald opened the door and then told Flower to cheer up as he would presently see an important paper that would change the course of history, and that several men and women were after it. As soon as Oswald switched on the light in the room, they saw a man with an automatic pistol pointed at them. The man was Max. On seeing him, Oswald said that he was shocked to see him there. He thought there was that he was in Berlin. Flower was frightened because the man had a gun. Max was a slender, crafty man who looked like a fox. He wanted Oswald to hand over him the report on new missiles he was going to get. Oswald went and sat on an armchair and sidelined the topic by saying that he was going to complain to the management that it was for the second time in a month that somebody had got into his room through the balcony, which had become a large and a real big nuisance. Flower looked at the single window in the room outside, which it was already dark. Max confessed that he had not come through the balcony but the pass key. He said that he wished he knew about the balcony. It would have been less troublesome to enter. Oswald said that it was not his balcony but it belonged to the next apartment. His room was a part of a large unit and the next room was the living room. It had the balcony which extended under his window. One could get into it from empty room 2 doors down. He said that somebody had got into his room that way last month. The management had promised to block it off, but they hadn't. They had to sit down as the paper would take about half an hour to arrive. Just then there was a knock at the door. Oswald immediately made a story and told that the police might have come to provide him security due to the important paper. He told Max that police would enter the room if he did not open the door. Max believed Oswald and he went towards the window. He caught the window frame with his free hand and aimed his gun at them. And then he moved out his other leg up and over the window sill. The door knob turned. Max pushed himself from the sill and thought he would fall in the balcony. He screamed because he fell right down. The door opened and the waiter stood there with a tray, a bottle and 2 glasses that Oswald had ordered. There was no police. Flower was very surprised and he asked Oswald about Max. Oswald said that he would never return as there was no balcony. Thus Oswald proved that he was a true spy and detective. Now this is all about a brief summary which I have told you about the chapter. Now let us understand this whole situation in detail. Oswald did not fit any description of a secret agent Flower had ever read. Following him down the musty corridor of a gloomy French hotel where Oswald had a room, Flower let down. It was a small room on the 6th and top floor, and scarcely a setting for a romantic adventure. Oswald was, for one thing, fat, very fat, and then there was his accent. Though he spoke French and German passably, he had never altogether lost the American accent he had brought to Paris from Boston 20 years ago. So, over here, there are two characters. The first one is Oswald. He was a detective, he was a secret agent, and there was a Flower who was a writer. And he was expecting that basically these sort of secret agent are really very fit and always at work, very much attentive. But while looking at Oswald, Flower was a bit confused that this is not exactly what he had ever thought about. He was having a really small room on the sixth and the top floor, and there was no romantic adventure also going on. Moreover to that, he was fat. He was actually really fat. He used to speak certain amount of French and German, but he hadn't lost that accent of speaking American which he had brought from Boston 20 years ago. You are disappointed, Oswald said Weasley over his shoulder. You were told that I was a secret agent, a spy, dealing in espionage and danger. You wished to meet me because you are a writer, young and romantic. You envisioned mysterious figures in the night, the crack of pistols, drugs in the wine. Instead, you have spent a dull evening in a French music hall with a sloppy fat man who, instead of having messages slipped into his hand by dark-eyed beauties, gets only a prosaic telephone call making an appointment in his room. You have been bored. That fat man chuckled to himself as he unlocked the door of his room and stood aside and let his frustrated guest enter. So over here, Weasley, it means breathlessly. Espionage means spying or a detective. Envisioned means imagined. Sloppy means massive. And prosaic means ordinary. So over here, Oswald is trying to tell him breathlessly that you might be disappointed because you always might have thought that agents, specifically secret agents or spy, might be dealing with some sort of spying or danger, but you cannot see anything over here. You cannot see any sort of mysterious figures in the night or the crack of pistols or drug in the wine. Instead, you are spending a dull evening in the French music hall. And he is only getting one call, and that is also to make an appointment in his room. And they were thinking that this life was such a boring life. And the fat man chuckled to himself, means he laughed about saying this thing, and he is unlocking the door for the writer. And he is welcoming his guest to enter his room. You are disillusioned, means you are disappointed. Oswald told him, but take cheer, my young friend, presently you will see a paper, a quite important paper for which several men and women have risked their lives. Come to me. Some day soon that paper may well affect the course of history. In that thought is drama, is there not? As he spoke, Oswald closed the door behind him. Then he switched on the light, and as the light came on, Flower had his first authentic thrill of the day. For halfway across the room, a small automatic pistol in his hand, stood a man. Oswald blinked a few times. Max, he whizzed. You gave me quite a start. I thought you were in Berlin. What are you doing here in my room. Over here, the detective Oswald is telling that wait for a certain days because he was going to get a really important paper and that would be changing the whole history. Many people have lose their life in finding these papers because they were really risky. As he was speaking all these things to the writer, at that time duration, something extraordinary happened, thrilling on that very day. There was a man who was holding a small pistol gun in his hand. Oswald blinked for a certain time duration and then he said, Max, you gave me a surprise. Yes, quite a start means to give a bit of surprise. Because Oswald thought that he was in Berlin and he asked that what he was doing eventually in his room. Max was a slender, means he was slim, a little less than tall, with features that suggested slightly the crafty pointed countenance of a fox. Means over here the appearance of Max is given that he was thin, he was little less than the tall person, and he suggested that his facial features and gesture seemed that he was crafty, and moreover to that his countenance means his face looked as if like a cunning fox. There was just about him, aside from the gun, nothing especially menacing. Okay, so the person was only holding a gun and there was nothing other frightening than that. The report, he murmured, the report that is being brought to you tonight concerning some new missiles. I thought I would take it from you. It will be safer in my hands than in yours. So Max said that he had come over here to get the report. The report which was going to come tonight, and that report was about the new missiles which were going to come. Max said that those missiles or that report might be safer in his hand than with Oswald. Oswald moved to an armchair and sat down heavily. I am going to raise the devil with the management this time. You can beat on it, he said grimly. This is the second time in a month that somebody has got into my room through that nuisance of balcony. Flower's eyes went to the single window of the room. It was an ordinary window against which now the night was pressing blackly. Balcony, Max said with rising inflation. No, a passkey. I did not know about the balcony. It might have saved me some trouble had I known. So, now what did Oswald do? He just moved and sat on his armchair and he all of a sudden changed the topic and he started up with now he was going to complain to the management because this happened with him second time in a month that somebody unnoticingly entered through the room. And he said that all this nuisance is because of that balcony. And Flower's eyes went on that single window of the room. And that was mere an ordinary window. But what happened? Max said balcony. He raised a question. Because he said that he came with a passkey. And he didn't knew that there was a balcony also. Otherwise that would have saved him from some trouble. It is not my balcony, Oswald said with extreme irritation. It belongs to the next apartment. He glanced explanatory at Flower. You see, he said, this room used to be a part of a large unit, and the next room through that door there used to be the living room. It had the balcony which extend under my window now. You can get onto it from the empty room 2 doors down. And somebody did last month. The management promised to block it off, but they haven't. Max glanced at Flower, who was standing stiffly not far from Oswald, and waved the gun with a commanding gesture. Please sit down, he said. We have a wait of half an hour, I think. So, what happened? Oswald told that it was not his balcony, his room's balcony, but that was a big apartment, a big large unit, and now it is being separated into different parts. And that balcony belonged to 2 doors away below it. And he had complained about the same thing the last month also to the management. And the management promised that they will be fixing it up and blocking off all. But eventually they haven't done it yet. Max glanced at Flower, who was standing stiffly over there. He waved his gun and told him that he could sit down because they were supposed to wait for half an hour. 31 minutes, Oswald said moodily. The apartment was 12:30. I wish I knew. Have you learned about the report, Max? The little spy smiled evilly. And we wish we knew how you people got the report. But no harm has been done. I will get it back tonight. What is that? Who is at the door? Flower jumped at the sudden knocking at the door. Oswald just smiled. They will be police, he said. I thought that such an important paper as the one we are waiting for should have a little extra protection. I told them to check on me to make sure everything was right. Max bit his lip nervously. The knocking was repeated. What will you do now, Max? Oswald asked. If I do not answer the door, they will enter anyway. The door is unlocked, and they will not hesitate to shoot. So now what happened? Max told Flower to sit, and Oswald told that still we are having plenty of time. And now Oswald was trying to make him more and more confused by telling that eventually we don't understand that how you know such a quick spy got this information about it, because this was kept so secret. And moreover to that, when they were having a conversation, there was a knock at the door, and Oswald told that there might be police to hand over the report. In which mannerism that this carried really important paper inside it. So, police were told to hand over it for the extra protection. Because of that thing, Max was also a bit nervous. Oswald told him that as the door is unlocked, they are knocking it. I am supposed to open it because they knew that I was in the room. And Oswald told that if I will not open, that if he will not open it, then somehow they would break it down, they would enter it, and if they will see you, they will shoot you. Max's face was black with anger as he backed swiftly towards the window. He swung a leg over the sill. Send them away, he warned. I will wait on the balcony, send them away, or I will shoot and take my chances. The knocking at the door became louder and voice was raised. Mr. Oswald, Mr. Oswald. Now what happened? By looking at this thing, Max was really angry. But he had no option, so he told that you should go and stand near that window. Okay, and they tried to send them away. Max is telling that he would be waiting on the balcony and he should not take any of the chance. and the knocking on the door became louder and the voice also raised. And they said, Mr. Ausable, Mr. Ausable. You can see over here the picture is given how Ausable, a fat person, is sitting on the armchair. Max is holding a gun in his hand and he is trying to escape from there. And there you can see Fleur, who was a writer and who was standing near Ausable, keeping his body twisted so that his gun still covered the fat man and his guest. The man at the window grasped the frame with his free hand to support himself. Then he swung his other leg up and over the window sill. The doorknob turned swiftly. Max pushed with his left hand to free himself from the seal and dropped to the balcony. And then, as he dropped, he screamed once shrilly. The door opened, and the waiter stood there with a tray, a bottle, and 2 glasses. Here is the drink you ordered for when you returned, he said, and set the tray on the table, deftly uncorked the bottle, and left the room. White-faced Fleur stared at him, but he stammered, "The police." There was no police, Ausable sighed. Only Henry, whom I was expecting. But won't that man out on the balcony? Fleur began. No, said Ausable. He won't return. You see, my young friend, there is no balcony. So eventually what happened? That somehow pointing gun at Ausable and Fleur, Max tried to keep himself out. He moved out of that balcony, out of that window. But eventually, as that sound got louder and louder, the doorknob was opened and there was waiter standing over there with the tray in his hand, and there was a bottle and 2 glasses because he had ordered it when they were returning. And he just uncorked the bottle and left the room. Fleur stared him with white face and he said, "The police." And Ausable sighed and said that there was no police. Only Henry, means the waiter, whom he was expecting. And what about the balcony? The men might be there. Ausable said that there was no balcony and he will not return. As you see, my friend, that there was no balcony, so the person, Max, who screamed, had jumped downward and he might be dead also. So this is how Ausable proved that he was a true spy and a great detective. This is all about the short story. I hope that you all have understood the chapter. If you still have any doubt or queries, you can comment down in the comment section. Thank you everyone for watching and have a nice day.